Hi friends, welcome back to Ouroboros Tarot. Today's pick a card reading is looking into how it is that they see you as well as how they see your connection. And I have 4 groups for you to choose from today. Pile 1, Pile 2, Pile 3, and Pile 4. Go ahead and pause this video if you need to. Take as much time as you need to find the pile that sits right with your energy as well as with your person's, and I will see you in a minute. Hello, Pile 1. So today's pick a card reading is looking into how the person on your mind is seeing you as well as this connection. So the cards here are answering just that. And then we're also going to pull tarot to see how it is that they are currently feeling about you. And then we will go ahead and get advice. So I have some new oracles and also a new tarot deck. So thank you to those who have purchased items off of my Amazon wish list in exchange for a 1-question video recorded reading. It's very exciting to get new decks in the mail, so thank you. I do have the link to my Amazon wish list in the description box of this video, as well as instructions on how to go about purchasing and sending an item. But let's go ahead and get on into it. So when it comes to how your person is currently seeing you, we have the Virgin. The light attribute is maintaining symbolic purity of heart and spirit, and the shadow attribute is fear of intimate union. We also have the Cheetah, and we have Polar Bear, and the key word is vulnerable. In terms of how they are currently seeing this connection, we have the Heart, we have number 31Y, and we have Inner Peace. Okay, and then we also have Gold, and we have the Despicable Face. So let's go ahead and start with how your person is currently viewing you. I get the feeling that your person seems to think that you are really allowing yourself to be seen, to be heard, to be looked at, to be understood. There's an element here of bravery, courage, I would say. Like, I think they see you as somebody who's very courageous, very brave in the face of vulnerability. I think that they see you as somebody who is truly being true to themselves, who's truly being authentic to themselves and gentle with themselves. And in turn, this is kind of being reflected back to them when it comes to how you treat them. I do sense that there is like a warmth about you that they're feeling, a sense of comfort, a sense of perhaps you giving them their own sense of courage and bravery. I also feel like for some of you, you could be somebody who's very successful, somebody who is very much goal-oriented, somebody who knows what it is that they want and is unafraid to put themselves out there and go after what it is that they want, even if failure may be something on the horizon. It doesn't matter. Like, there's definitely an element here of you being somebody who is willing to try, even if there's the possibility of failure, simply because failing is an opportunity to eventually succeed. Failing is an opportunity to grow, to expand. There's open-mindedness here. So that's what I'm seeing for how they see you. When it comes to how they see this connection, I think that it kind of goes hand in hand with how they're seeing you. I kind of get the feeling that they might be feeling as though you are kind of guiding this connection, leading this connection in a certain way, setting the tone for this connection. Whether or not you're being intentional in that or not, I think that you are guiding them. You're a guiding light in certain aspects, and it's really helping them open up their own heart space. I think it's interesting that we have the Heart and Gold. Both of these decks are by the same creator, and this Gold card mentions in the guidebook how this card is very similar in energy to the Heart card. And what this is telling me is that your person sees this connection as something that is it's invaluable. There's something very, very special about this connection that feels very warm, and kind of rare, I would say. And also, like, I think the warmth, like if you look at the imagery here, obviously we have gold, but then there's this light that's kind of illuminating or radiating off of it. And I also think it's interesting, now that I'm looking at the imagery on these cards, the light that's being emanated from this card is shedding light onto the despicable face. And what the despicable face is all about is about kind of like the aspects of ourselves that perhaps we feel a sense of shame about, or a sense of dislike or disgust. And all the despicable face really is an opportunity to shed light onto that, to share it with the world, to show others this very human part of ourselves that perhaps we're too afraid to show because it might be too ugly. But once light is actually shed on it, what we realize is that it's a very human and normal part of ourselves, that is simply in need of compassion. And so I feel as though your person sees this connection as one that is giving them the opportunity to open up and be seen and be understood and be looked at in the same way that you have allowed yourself to do. Like there's an opportunity here for bravery within themselves, as well as for grace, showing themselves grace. And I think that part of it has to do with, there's a sense of calmness that they see in this connection. With inner peace here, there's definitely a sense of, it feels still. Like it doesn't feel frantic. It doesn't feel like a connection that is really being rushed or is full of like so much passion that perhaps it's blinding to other aspects. It feels still, and like there's clarity in this connection. Another thing that I'm noticing with this card is that we have lilies in this image, and lilies are very well known to be flowers that bloom in kind of messy environments, in muddy and murky environments, which again kind of goes back to this despicable face, this opportunity to grow, an opportunity to find peace and compassion in the muddiest, murkiest parts of ourselves. And I think that like this connection is also one that is giving themselves it's providing them an opportunity to develop a relationship with themselves, to look at themselves in ways in which they haven't necessarily in the past, so that they can better understand themselves. I think that there's a lot of expansion going on for this person currently, and a lot of evolution. This person feels like really strong and profound changes are happening to them. And part of it comes from the encouragement of this connection. But so that's what I'm seeing for how they see you and how they're seeing this connection. Let's go ahead and look into how this person is currently feeling about you, about the connection. Okay, that was a terrible shuffle. Let's go ahead and try it one more time. It's kind of hard to shuffle because I have like, for my camera, there's like a stand that's in my way, and it makes it difficult to put my arms in the direction that would be the most appropriate for shuffling these cards. Let's do it one more time. Okay. How does pile one's person currently feel about pile one and the connection? Okay, so we have the Two of Swords, we have the Moon, we have the Lovers. How does pile one's person currently feel? We have the Knight of Cups. How are they currently feeling about this connection? How is pile one's person currently feeling about pile one, this connection? Okay, we also have the Knight of Wands. Why is the Two of Swords here, Spirit? Why is the Two of Swords here? Please clarify the Two of Swords. Okay, so we have the Eight of Pentacles. Why is the Moon here? We have the Chariot. Why is the Lovers here? Why is the Lovers here? Okay, we have the Knight of Swords. Why is the Knight of Cups here? We have the Fool and the Page of Swords. Okay. And then why is the Knight of Wands here, Spirit? Why is the Knight of Wands here? Okay. Let me try to get this organized a little bit. Okay. So let's go ahead and pull what is on the bottom of the deck. We have the Knight of Pentacles. How interesting. So every single knight came out. Knight of Pentacles, Knight of Swords, Knight of Cups, and Knight of Wands. The knights are all about movement, coming forward, moving forward, taking action. And so I would say that this person definitely has a really strong desire to keep up the momentum in some sort of way. And I see momentum again with the Chariot. And the Moon. The Moon is again indicating a need to illuminate. There's fears, there's murkiness, there's confusion, and I think that like they feel as though even if they were to resist this, and I do sense that there may be some resistance, like when with the Oracle cards, I see that they see this connection as something that is providing them an opportunity to get to know themselves better, to explore their shadow selves, to explore how they want to be courageous in their vulnerability, all of that. But the key word there is opportunity. But I think that there is a little bit of resistance to it. Like I see in this particular Two of Swords, well, really in any Two of Swords card, typically, I see this person who has their eyes covered, blindfolded, and then they have their arms crossed, like in a protective type of stance. But there's something about this particular image that I'm seeing where there is a level of defiance, almost like this person's chin and head is held high. It's like they are purposefully, willingly, intentionally choosing and wanting to keep the cloth over their eyes. And I think that what this is indicating is that there is a little bit of resistance to this on your person's end of actually looking at what needs to be seen or what's being called to them. And I also think it's interesting that we have the Moon right behind this person, which again indicates the shadow self needing to be illuminated. And it's being clarified by the Eight of Wands. There's definitely a recognition that the growth that they are being provided an opportunity to take on is one that would require hard work. Like it's like one phrase that's coming to mind with these two cards is that once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep. And I think that they're aware of this. They're aware that if they are to start allowing themselves to be seen, to be vulnerable, they can't take that back. They can't take back what it is that they've shown you. They can't suddenly stop the momentum that is kind of being gathered while they work on themselves or while they get to know themselves. So there's definitely a level of resistance that's kind of intentional, purposeful, and with reason, like they have a reason behind it. But at the end of the day, they also feel as though there is no stopping this. Like they have, I think it's interesting that we have minor arcana cards here indicating that they are choosing to resist. But then we have major arcana cards, which is indicative of kind of like energy that can't be resisted, like it's more so fated. And so even though they are really making an attempt to resist this, there's also an awareness within them that they're going to be unable to resist the growth that is being kind of pushed toward them. And it's very fast, like it's a very fast opportunity, and they know that like changes are coming in quickly. And then we have the Lovers and the Knight of Swords. Like there isn't resistance to momentum in general, it's just resistance to perhaps sharing secrets or parts of themselves that they don't necessarily feel comfortable sharing with anybody. But there's such a drive here to have this union, to have this love, to keep their heart space open, that they're recognizing that this connection can only go so far if they are unable to be vulnerable. And there is a great desire to move this connection along very quickly. There's no resistance when it comes to their feelings for you. There's more so resistance when it comes to their relationship with themselves. And then we have the Knight of Cups, the Fool, and the Page of Swords. This person is all in when it comes to how they feel about you. They are willing to, they want, like there's romantic feelings here. There's definitely an emotional attraction that they want to explore. The Page of Swords is a card of curiosity. They feel curious to explore this. And again, there's no resistance to this energy, to this desire, to these feelings. I'm looking at the image here. I haven't used this deck. This is a new deck. So like as I'm pulling cards, I'm kind of exploring this with you guys for the first time. But I see this person jumping off the cliff, like ready to jump off the cliff. And then we have this dog who's so loyal, and you know that that dog is going to jump off with it if this person jumps off the cliff. And it kind of makes me feel like there's this, like the phrase from The Notebook, like, is it The Notebook? No. Like, if you're a bird, I'm a bird. That's The Notebook. But it's like, if you jump, I jump. That's kind of like what I'm getting from this. Like, they're recognizing that they potentially don't necessarily have a whole lot of power in this situation, because vulnerability makes a person kind of open and capable of getting hurt. But I think that they see that there is an opportunity here that if they were not to take it, there would be an immense amount of regret. There would be a continuous questioning of themselves, and the question would be, what if? And then we have the Knight of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Ten of Cups. This connection, they feel like they hit the jackpot. I think another message that's kind of coming through for all the Knights having come out is like they feel as though you and this connection kind of check all the boxes, like emotionally speaking, physically speaking, when it comes to perhaps what your goals are, like there's similar goals, or they can see a similar path for the two of you that like is very compatible. It seems like this connection is one, they feel as though this connection is one that kind of is free flowing and easily flowing. Yeah, there's definitely like a strong attraction and deep feelings here. And I think the only resistance that's coming is their resistance to their relationship with themselves, not a resistance to the relationship they have with you. But there is recognition that if this connection is meant to progress, they are going to have to build a relationship with themselves. Like it's foundational. It's a foundational need. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing for you guys today, pile one. Let's go ahead and get you guys some advice before we close this reading out. What advice is there for pile 1 when it comes to their connection? Okay, we have, I'm just going to take this one. We have friendliness. Whenever I smile, I make someone's day better. What a cool way to buy happiness for free. Today, I will remember what an awesome power I hold, and I'll take joy in improving lives simply by giving away grins like crazy. Note, in a pinch, money will also work. What advice is there for pile 1? We have spontaneity. Do you like spontaneous adventures of the highest caliber? The only acceptable answer to this question is yes. So buckle up, Charlie. You're about to take a wild ride through the unexplored, unconventional, and underrated. You're about to learn that yes is a magic word with the power to unlock new dimensions in space, time, and after-hours hangouts. Yes will lead you to experiences you didn't think possible and teach you that lifelong friendships are sometimes lurking just behind a karaoke singer's mullet. So I think that these cards, obviously, your interpretation should matter the most. You have a deeper understanding of what's being presented here. But from what I'm seeing, I feel as though what these cards are saying is that if this connection is going to grow, this really is up to this person. Like not so much like they hold all the power, but it's more so like there's nothing that you can do to help this person when it comes to their relationship with themselves. Like there's obviously, when it comes to a relationship between two people, there's plenty that you can do. And I think that there, we know with spontaneity here, this might be encouragement to really allow yourself to be more spontaneous, to maybe create some spontaneous experiences for the both of you. But I think like when it comes to a relationship with just one person, with themselves, the only thing that can really dictate that is the person themselves. And so I think that like this friendliness card really may be encouraging you to kind of practice like a balanced, what's the word I'm looking for? A non-biased type of demeanor when it comes to them and this exploration, rather than one where you're trying to guide it or lead it in a certain way. But that's what I'm seeing for you guys, pile 1. Thank you so much for watching. I do have my Etsy shop stocked with different types of readings. So if you're interested in getting an in-depth reading with multiple questions or with one question, feel free to check out my Etsy shop, as well as my Amazon wish list. If you are interested in a one-question reading, you can also purchase one through there. And it's also less expensive than if you were to purchase something through Etsy with taxes and fees and things like that included. But that's what I'm seeing for you. And please know that I am wishing you nothing but the very best. Bye. Hello, pile 2. So today's pick a card reading is a reading looking into how the person on your mind sees you, as well as how they see the connection. And how we're going to do this is I have oracles here to answer those questions. And we're also going to pull tarot to see what else comes through in terms of how they're currently feeling about you and the connection. But yeah, let's go ahead and get on into it. I have some new oracles here. These have been sent in to me by you guys via my Amazon wish list in exchange for one question readings. So I'm really excited for this reading today and to use these new cards. Thank you to those who have sent in readings. And I'm still doing that with my Amazon wish list. So if you would like to purchase a one question reading that way, feel free to check that out. There's instructions in the description box of how to do that. I also have my Etsy shop open with multiple question type readings, as well as one question readings if you're more interested in doing it that way. So check that out as well. Well, let's go ahead and start. So when it comes to how your person is currently seeing you, we have the child wounded, The light attribute is awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children, opens the learning path of forgiveness. And the shadow attributes are blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resists moving on through forgiveness. We also have the spider, and we have the raccoon, and the key word is furtive. When it comes to how they're seeing this connection, we have Eros. We also have the poet. We have number 51, milk and honey. We have miracles. And we have the great work. Okay, so let's go ahead and first start with how your person is currently viewing you. I get like an energy with these cards here of perhaps there being an energy of like being shut off in certain ways, but not because like anything has happened or transpired in this connection, but more so it might just be kind of how you engage in connections of some kinds. Like I just get the feeling that there is like a level of avoidancy here, or a level of focusing on perhaps your own goals. Like there's this element of like not wanting others to get in the way of what it is that you want, what it is that you're working for, and perhaps because of that there is an element of keeping distance between you and other people, most specifically people where there's vulnerability involved. And I think it's interesting, like the one thing that calls out to me the most in this child wounded card is that there is this person and their back is turned and they have like a blanket wrapped around them, and then they're holding on, like they're letting children sit in their lap, they're holding on to children. And this could be indicative of you genuinely being in like a career field where you're working with children. But I sense it more so like you're very self-protective of yourself and perhaps your goals, based on the fact that perhaps in the past, perhaps like you've only had you to take care of yourself, or you recognize that you're the only one who's going to protect yourself. And so there is definitely an element of like some walls being up, is what I would say. Walls being up, and also like somebody who's like well-rounded, who has multiple areas of their life that are fulfilling outside of perhaps this connection or just connections in general. So that's what I would say when it comes to how they're seeing you. When it comes to how they're seeing this connection, I see like a great deal of desire and of joy and of gratitude here. Like I think that this person really sees something deeply special in this connection. There's definitely, with arrows here, there's definitely a level of like eroticism, of sexuality, of desire, like physical desire. I think that this person enjoys that. Like if this is a romantic type of connection, or a connection like a physical connection, I would say that that is something that they definitely value within this connection. But there's also the poet, and the poet is definitely like a truth teller. The poet is definitely an artist of some kind, that and when it comes to creating art, there's obviously like a level of vulnerability that's just kind of that comes along with that, especially if you want your art to be seen. So there's definitely like, I think that there's a level of beauty to this connection that this person is recognizing, not just physical beauty or physical attraction, but also like an emotional type of attraction here. And with milk and honey and miracles, I think that this person is just incredibly grateful. They feel as though this is a very special connection, something that perhaps they didn't necessarily think that they would find anytime soon. And I think with the great work here, there's definitely an element, and it could be because they feel as though you might not necessarily be as open to this connection. I think that there's an element here with the great work of perhaps recognizing that there is a lot of work that needs to be done in order to maintain this connection, or in order to keep this where it's at currently. But I think that, like, I don't sense any sort of resentment in that way. It seems more so like, I mean, it's the great work. It's work that leads to something miraculous. I think that this person sees a future in which they could have everything it is that they have hoped for within this connection. So that's what I'm seeing. Let's go ahead and look into how they're currently feeling. So this is also a new deck, and this is the first video that I'm using it in. So I noticed in pile 1 that I was definitely kind of noticing things in the imagery that like often, and it's simply because I'm kind of exploring these cards as well with you as we go. So it's exciting. I love getting new decks. There's so many different messages. Okay. So how does pile 2's person feel about pile 2, feel about this connection? Okay, so we have the 2 of Pentacles. How is pile 2's person currently feeling about pile 2, about this connection? We have the Ace of Pentacles. We have the Hermit, Temperance, and we have the Moon. Okay. Why is the 2 of Pentacles here, Spirit? We have the King of Wands. Why is the Ace of Pentacles here? We have the High Priestess. Why is the Hermit here, Spirit? Why is the Hermit here? Please clarify the Hermit. Why is the Hermit here? We have the Queen of Wands. Interesting. This is a very clear message. Okay, why is Temperance here? Why is Temperance here, Spirit? Please clarify Temperance. We have the Emperor. And why is the Moon here? We have the 8 of Pentacles. How interesting, because the Moon came out in the last pile, and it was clarified by the 8 of Pentacles as well. And then on the back of the deck, we have the 6 of Swords. Okay, so how is this person currently feeling about you, about this connection? So there's one message that's coming through pretty strongly, and the message is coming through with the 2 of Pentacles, the King of Wands, the Hermit, the Queen of Wands, and then Temperance and the Emperor. This person feels somewhat powerless, I would say. Not because they don't have power, but because they recognize that the power that they do have resides in doing nothing, resides in tempering down what naturally is coming to them, which is to take action, which is to go after what it is that they want. And they don't necessarily feel as though that is what's best for this connection currently, because they sense that you are shut off. It's here again. They feel somewhat, perhaps even neglected by you, by your need to go within. And this message is coming through so clearly because we have the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands. It feels like this person seems to think that the 2 of you are meant to be together. There's a partnership here, and yet they feel as though they are having to balance what it is that they want with your desire to kind of be at a distance. And I think that this is something that really kind of worries them. I think that they're under the impression that right now they're stuck in limbo, and they're not necessarily sure if this connection is going to come into fruition the way in which they desire it to. I sense, like with the moon and the Eight of Pentacles here, that this person is really putting in effort to not allow them not knowing kind of spiral into assumption making. And I think that they feel as though, like, so the High Priestess can be, typically the High Priestess is indicative of intuition, of like a deep knowing. But so there are times when the High Priestess comes out for me where I have interpreted it as whatever the question is that's being asked, there is a purpose behind not knowing the answer for the time being. There's like a need that the High Priestess kind of shows up in sometimes, where there is a need to accept the unknown. And I think that this person feels as though they are in a state of not knowing and having to accept that this connection might not ground the way in which they would like. And I think that there is like some fear here of this connection kind of sizzling out, or like kind of the both of you moving in different directions. Yeah, that's what I'm, and I don't see anything, you know, I think it's interesting that we don't have any cups here. We have we have swords, wands, and pentacles, but we don't have any cups. I think that this person is kind of approaching this connection currently from a place of trying to remain calm and logical rather than emotional and perhaps reactive. Like, I think that this person is recognizing that their power lies in providing you space, or in kind of making themselves kind of temper themselves down in certain ways. Like, they don't want to be off-putting or demanding. But that's what I'm seeing for you guys, pile 2. Let's go ahead and get you guys some advice before we close this reading out. See what comes through for you. Okay, that was terrible. Terrible shuffle. What advice is there for pile 2 when it comes to this connection? Okay, so we have everyone is a teacher. Everyone I cross paths with is a teacher in that moment. The ones who give me the fun lessons are the ones I call friends. The ones who give me the hard lessons I sometimes call a-holes. They've chosen a tough job, but someone's got to do it. So today I'm thanking all the a-holes. Thank you, a-hole, for playing your part in making me a better person. That's really interesting that this particular card came out, because at the beginning of the reading I did mention that I feel as though for some of you, you may be teachers or like caregivers in some sort of sense, like or working with youth, working with children in some sort of way. And I feel like this is, if that's the case, I feel like this card in particular really is emphasizing that what has gone on in your past, the experiences that you have had to kind of lead you to where you are now, you've taken those opportunities to learn from them. And you're no longer the person you were back then with whatever had happened. And obviously take this as it resonates for you, first and foremost. Like, perhaps this person that we're inquiring about is an asshole. And if that's the case, I think that this would be encouraging you to kind of move on from this. However, if what I've been saying is resonating, I think that this might be encouragement to really recognize that not everyone is going to be the same person as the people from your past that perhaps were the assholes. In that you've learned a lot in your life, and you have a lot more skills and wisdom than perhaps you did in the past. And there may be a need to open up and allow others the opportunity to show you who they are, before assumptions are made. But take it how it resonates for you. Okay. What advice is there for pile 2 when I try so hard to like not let my spread get all out of sorts. What advice is there for pile 2? Okay, we have inspiration. There is a voice of inspiration within me. Right now, it's only a whisper, but the more I listen, the louder it will get. Soon, it will be flawless speech voiced by James Earl Jones through a megaphone with lots of applause. So, yeah, I think for this, like, I think that this is pretty like cut and dry, where if there has been anything that's kind of been calling to you, it might be beneficial to really explore that. Obviously, like sometimes when we're inspired to do something, our ego can get in the way and fears kind of flood the voices in our head. And I think that this is a reminder to allow the inspiration to be louder than the fears. But that's what I'm seeing for you guys today, pile 2. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to check out my Etsy shop, my Amazon wish list. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe so that I will have the opportunity to read for you in another video soon. Bye! Hello, pile 3. So today's pick a card reading is looking into how your person sees you, as well as how they see this connection. So these oracles here are going to answer those 2 questions, and we're also going to get tarot to see what the current feelings are toward you toward your connection. Oh my gosh, I feel like I can't speak right now. How they feel about you, as well as how they feel about this connection. So I have some new oracles, and I also have a new deck. And I'm really excited to use these, so thank you to those who have purchased items off of my Amazon wish list. It's been so much fun to receive items in the mail, and to also, it's just fun. It's fun for me, and I hope that it's fun for you to see your decks on this channel, as well as to help kind of keep the freshness of this channel going. So thank you to those who have purchased. If you would like to purchase an item on my wish list, you can as well, and in return I will provide you with a 1-question video recorded reading. And the items on the wish list are less expensive typically than the 1-question readings in my Etsy shop, especially when you count in taxes and fees and stuff like that. So check it out. I also have my Etsy shop open with other types of readings. But let's go ahead and get on into it. So when it comes to how your person is seeing you, we have the owl, and the keyword is silence. We have the nightingale, and we have the prostitute. The light attribute of the prostitute is accentuates the challenge of surviving without negotiating the power of your spirit. And the shadow attribute is places material considerations and security above self-empowerment. We also have, for when it comes to how they're seeing this connection, we have apocalypsis, we have number 20, imagine, we have success, and we have silver. Okay, so this is a really specific situation that I'm seeing here, but I definitely don't feel like this connection is in contact at the moment. Or it's like very limited contact. And I feel like what has happened based on their perspective, like remember, we're looking at this in terms of how they're seeing you. It feels like they're seeing you as somebody who recognized that this connection was no longer serving you. It was kind of draining you. It was perhaps causing you to not really be in alignment with who you truly are, what it is that you truly want, your best self, your highest self. It seems like this connection, from their perspective, it seems like you felt as though this connection was one that was kind of causing you to negotiate, like with the light attributes here. It seems like you felt as though this connection was causing you to negotiate the power of your spirit, and you chose not to. You chose to survive. You chose to thrive, and this connection was not helping you thrive. And they're seeing you as somebody who puts yourself first. Not only did you put yourself first, but I think that you were very vocal. Like, they're seeing you as somebody very vocal, who spoke very freely, communicated very clearly about what was going on, whether or not that was you communicating what it is that you want and need. And then based on their reaction, you decided that it was never going to happen, or whether or not this was you communicating why you were choosing to walk away. I feel as though this person is not in a state of confusion. Of course, we'll get into tarot and we'll see things a little bit more clearly, but based on what I'm seeing in these cards, it seems as though you've left no room for misinterpretation or for them to try to interpret this, for them to try to make this, what is happening between the two of you, make it appear as though it's something different. Like, there's no confusion on this person's end. And now I think with the owl here, they're seeing you as somebody who is choosing to turn your back to this connection. And we see it with both of these cards. We see both of these birds having turned their back on the connection. Like, these cards represent you, these cards represent the connection, and your back is turned and you're facing towards this prostitute. You're facing towards what is serving you. I think that this person is seeing you as somebody who has chosen very openly and clearly and intentionally chosen to cut themselves off or remove themselves, cut the cord from this connection. So that's what I'm seeing here. When it comes to how your person is seeing your connection, they're definitely recognizing, with apocalypsis here, they are acknowledging the truth that this connection is over. However, at the same time, there's still desire here. There's still hope here, is what I would say. And apocalypsis is, I mean, like, it's the apocalypse. It's an ending, but it's scary and it's painful. This person is definitely viewing this connection as one that has been hurtful, painful, and it could have been, based on what I'm seeing here, it seems as though there's recognition, or at least even if they don't realize it, it's been very clear based on what I'm seeing here that the hurt that they might be feeling from this ending may very well be their own doing, their own undoing. But it's there nonetheless. And then what I'm seeing with silver here is, the first thing that I see is that we have this moon here. We have this full moon. So I think that they're in the moon, and we also have it here now that I think about it with imagine. We have a moon right here. And what the moon indicates in tarot is fears, illusions, murky emotions, things needing to be illuminated. And I think that they definitely see that there is an ending here, and now there is a need to kind of like soothe themselves, is what I want to say. Like, I think that this person is really, like, even though they recognize it, they're really hoping for a different outcome. And another thing that comes with silver is like its reflective properties, and just like the moon. So like the moon is kind of reflective, it's emotional, and it definitely has like a relationship with water, things like that. And reflections just in general are definitely indicative of relationships. Relationships are mirrors. They reflect back to us a lot of what it is that perhaps we're not even seeing within ourselves. So there is definitely a desire here still to connect, is what I would say. but also it seems disillusioned a little bit, especially with success here. It feels like if you look at this image, like it's pretty dark, and this panther here looks like it's like almost like watching, like it's looking at the, like kind of the emotion that I get, and I see the moon here again, but kind of what the emotion is that I get from this panther is that they see something that they want and they're looking at it. Like it's like almost like they feel as though they're on the outside looking in. Like they're seeing this connection as one where they're no longer in it, and now they're having to look from a distance. Now they're having to try to come up with a way in which to still bring about success when access to you has been cut off. So that's what I'm seeing for this. Let's go ahead and see how they're feeling. Okay, how is pile 3's person currently feeling about pile 3, about their connection? How is pile 3's person feeling? So we have the 7 of Wands. We have the Page of Pentacles. Okay. We have the Queen of Pentacles reversed. How is this person currently feeling about pile 3? We have the Tower. How are they currently feeling about pile 3, Spirit, and their connection? How are they currently feeling? How is this person currently feeling about pile 3? And we have the 8 of Swords. Okay, so I mean, just from these cards, I'm gonna clarify in just a second, but my gut reaction from seeing these cards is that this person is having a pity party. But let's keep going. We'll see what comes through. Why is the 7 of Wands here, please? Why is the 7 of Wands here, Spirit? We have the 3 of Wands. Why is the Page of Pentacles here? We have the Chariot. Why is the Queen of Pentacles reversed? We have the 10 of Swords. Why is the Tower here? We have the Knight of Swords. And why is the 8 of Swords here? We have the Knight of Wands. And then on the back of the deck, we have the Queen of Swords. So one thing that I'm noticing immediately is that there are no cups here. I feel as though this person is much more in a state of like their ego being bruised rather than their heart space being affected, if that makes sense. Like, it feels like they don't want to the 7 of Wands is a very defensive energy, and the 3 of Wands is definitely a card about like trusting that what you put out there you will receive, and I feel like this person is at odds with themselves right now because they feel as though this is a message that's coming through, is that they feel as though what it is that they put out there versus what it is that they got in return when it comes to you and this connection is unfair in some sort of way. Like they're defending the energy and effort that they put in. They don't want to, they don't feel as though they did anything to deserve this almost. Like there's a defensiveness here where they don't want to look at themselves and accept responsibility entirely. So like I was saying, like it could be that this person, with the oracles, I was saying that it could be that this person really has accepted the fact that they have messed up, whereas they may not actually be looking at it. From what I'm seeing here, it doesn't seem like this person is actually seeing what it is that they were showing. Like they see the outcome of what's happened, but they aren't recognizing their own part in this. And I see like the pity party. The first time I felt the energy of this pity party was with this Page of Pentacles, which the imagery in it, it just gives me this feeling of like somebody looking, so like this person's looking at this pentacle and it looks like they're almost in contemplation, but also their body language is the body language of somebody who kind of looks powerless, or like they're not ready to take action. They're not in a stance where they're ready to get up. They're just looking at this pentacle and recognizing that it's something that they want, but they're not necessarily feeling confident in doing anything other than like think about what it is that they want. And then I'll get back to this Chariot. A message had come through and I've spaced it, but let's go to this Queen of Pentacles being reversed and then the Ten of Swords. I do feel as though this currently they feel very ungrounded. They feel very unstable. They don't feel very confident in themselves because of this ending. And the Ten of Swords is representative of a painful ending, but swords are very much so about your mental space, about your thoughts. And so this seems more so like something that is in their head. And a very specific message is coming through for a select few of you, but it feels like because there are no cups here, obviously there's like pain here with this Ten of Swords, but it also feels as though perhaps their heart space is so shut off that they never opened it up to you in the first place. And perhaps it's because they've never opened it up to anybody, so they don't even they don't recognize the disconnect of like what it is that their mind and their ego is telling them versus what their heart would be telling them if their heart space was open. But it does feel like they're in a state of turmoil and chaos and confusion, and not confusion about you or about like what it is that you want or what direction you're going in, but more so confusion about how they're going to pick up the pieces. It feels like they're still in a state of shock by what has happened between the two of you, and it feels as though it was something that really blindsided them. And there's like, again, with the Knight of Wands here and the Chariot, this is, okay, so now this makes sense. The Knight of Wands, the Chariot, as well as the Knight of Swords, this is all very fast-moving energy. There's a lot of momentum here. And, the Knight of Wands is definitely an energy of like going after what you want. And what I was seeing in this image was somebody who is looking at something that they want more of, but they're unwilling to really go after it. But it feels like they know that if they are to make, like, they are the ones that are going to have to make changes, like they recognize this, but there's like an unwillingness here to do it. Like they would rather play victim than actually put in the effort. And again, with the Queen of Swords being the bottom of the deck energy, I think that this person feels discarded, like just straight up cut off, very clearly and exactly, precisely, just cut off. But that's what I'm seeing. I see somebody who feels as though they've been victimized and is unwilling to look at themselves or to grow. Let's go ahead and get you advice before we close this reading out. What advice is there for pile 3 when it comes to this connection? What advice is there for pile 3? story of my life. As I tell myself the story of what's happening in my life, I choose to make it the kind of story where even the tough parts have a sort of inner beauty. It's ultimately a happy story where every character, no matter how wicked, is doing their best. And let me tell you, it'll be worth it when I earn that Pulitzer Prize for Best Inner Monologue. What advice is there for pile 3? And we have good things to come. There are so many amazing gifts coming my way. I can't see them now because I respect the general convention of not peeking under wrapping paper. But they will show up when the time is just right. And that's when I'll remember how much fun it is to be surprised. So I think that what this is indicative of, especially story of my life, is that if this is a connection that kind of was very hurtful or very disappointing, like obviously like take as much time as you need to mourn that, to be upset, to be angry with this person. But I think what this story of my life card is really encouraging here is that once it's time, once you feel ready to put yourself back out there, it's important to not carry along this part of your story with you into the next chapter. Like it's important to still give people the opportunity to show themselves who they are before you make an assumption and close yourself off to people. And also there's a need to trust that like this connection seems as though it was like a bump in the road, and that might be a very nonchalant way to say it, especially if this was like very hurtful. But your guides are really wanting you to know that this isn't the end. There's more to this story. Maybe not to this particular story, but there's more to your story, and it's going to get a gazillion times better. But that's what I'm seeing for you guys today, pile 3. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to check out my Etsy shop as well as my Amazon wish list. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing to my channel so that I'll have the opportunity to read for you in another video soon. Bye! Hello, pile 4. So today's pick a card reading is looking into how the person on your mind sees you, as well as how do they see your connection. So these oracles here are going to show us just that, how they see you, how they see the connection. We'll also pull tarot to see how it is that they're currently feeling about you and the connection. I do have new oracles here, so thank you to those who have sent in decks via my Amazon wishlist in exchange for 1-question readings. I am really excited that you guys are sending in decks, and it keeps the channel fresh, so thank you so much. It's still optional, like there's still an opportunity there to do it in exchange for a 1-question reading. So if you're curious about that, go ahead and check it out. There are directions on how to send items in the description box of this video. I also have my Etsy shop open with other types of readings, as well as 1-question readings if you would rather do it that way. So feel free to check that out as well. But let's go ahead and get into it. So when it comes to how your person is currently seeing you, we have guide. The light attribute represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself, and the shadow attribute places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. We also have the firefly, and we have the hummingbird, and the keyword is navigate. And then when it comes to how they see the connection currently, we have the medallion, we have number 49, the observer, we have patience, and we have coagulation. Okay, so where do I want to start? I feel like I honestly want to start with how they see this connection, because I think that it'll give us a better understanding of how they see you. And I think with the medallion and with coagulation, there is an element here of feeling bound to one another, of feeling as though this connection, seeing this connection as one that might be codependent in certain ways. Like it feels like perhaps this person is viewing this connection as one where the two of you sort of unintentionally became enmeshed with one another. And this could very well be like a financial type of thing, like perhaps the two of you live together, and and perhaps there's like a dependency on finances. And I'm only saying that because we have this medallion here, but there definitely is like a feeling of an unspoken type of agreement that has bound the two of you together. And I think that now they're viewing this connection as one where perhaps they need to take a step back, or perhaps a step has already been taken by perhaps you, where there is a need to take a step back and kind of look at things from a different perspective before the two of you decide where this connection is headed next. It seems like this connection has perhaps gone a little bit stagnant, and that's something that they're viewing as part of this connection currently. When it comes to you, I think they're seeing you as somebody who is really navigating this very well, with a lot of agility, with a lot of confidence. I think that they're seeing you as somebody who perhaps is more capable than them. And this is, I think we'll understand more when I pull tarot, but it seems like regardless of whether or not they're comparing you to them, they seem to think that you have a good head on your shoulders when it comes to making choices for yourself outside of this connection. Like they think that you are somebody who is really taking charge of your life and is going to be prosperous, abundant, etc., regardless of what happens in this connection. I do think that there may be an element here of them being somewhat concerned that perhaps you're no longer going to want to put as much energy into this connection. Like the firefly is like a very fleeting energy. Like it blinks light. It shows us it's beautiful light for a brief moment and then it goes out. And I think that there is definitely like a fear here for this person when it comes to how they're seeing you, where they're seeing you as somebody who could potentially walk away fairly easily and take your light with you. But that's what I'm seeing. So if that's resonating, like I think that was a very specific message. So I think that you'll know whether or not this is in fact your pile. If this message has come to you as a shock, it's probably because this isn't your pile, and I would suggest looking at another pile, or perhaps there's just no message for you here today. But let's go ahead and look into how this person is currently feeling about you, how they're feeling about this connection. How is pile 4's person currently feeling about pile 4, about their connection? How is pile 4's person currently feeling? Okay, so we have the Queen of Swords. We have the Page of Wands. We have the Knight of Cups, the King of Cups. And we have the Four of Cups. Okay. And then why is the Queen of Swords here? Please clarify the Queen of Swords. We have the Two of Wands. Okay, why is the Page of Wands here? We have the Six of Swords. Why is the Knight of Cups here? We have the Hermit. Why is the King of Cups here? We have the Four of Wands. And why is the Four of Cups here? We have the King of Wands. And then on the back of the deck, we have the Ten of Swords. Okay, so how is this person currently feeling? I would say that just as much as this person is concerned, like even though this person is concerned about you and whether or not you are going to like step away or like remove part of your energy or cut them off or whatever the case may be, it feels like even though they recognize that perhaps that is an option, like that's a potential outcome of this like pause, they still feel as though some distance, some space, whatever's happening between the two of you currently is something that is the best for the both of you for the time being. Like, I think that they're really... It feels like they're taking a step back and they're really considering what is the best thing for the both of you. What's the most loving thing and the healthiest thing that the both of you can do in order to ensure your happiness in the future. And I think that like there's like a state of acceptance here that this connection may not necessarily be what is the best for both of you, but there might not be the ability for this person at least, but I think for both of you, there may not be the ability to see that clearly when the two of you are in this connection currently. And so like, even though there's still love here, there's like definitely, with the Knight of Cups, the King of Cups, and the Four of Wands, there's definitely love here. There's this connection brings this person a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, and I think a lot of stability. Even though there are these wonderful feelings that this person feels for you, there's also a desire to kind of go within, to step away from this connection and perhaps develop a relationship with themselves, or perhaps find out what it is that this person even wants, or give you the opportunity to find out what it is that you want. And so I think, and I also think with the Four of Cups and the King of Wands, there's this like message of like them perhaps having an aha moment that perhaps what it is that they thought they want isn't actually what it is that they want. Like, I think that this person is really in a state of like self-exploration currently, and it doesn't take away their feelings for you, but I think that it's there nonetheless. And even though there is this like self-exploration, there's this desire, like it's a complex spread. We have a lot of love, but we also have a lot of like expansion away from this connection. And we also have pain here with the Ten of Swords being the bottom of the deck energy. There's an underlying feeling of pain for kind of the pause that's happening. Yeah. But that's what I'm seeing for you guys, pile 4. Let's go ahead and get you guys some advice before we close this reading out. How does pile, what advice is there for pile 4? Okay, so we have peacefulness. I have a peaceful, tranquil, and untroubled heart. This is where I choose to spend my time. I can bring guests, but any person, thought, or event that brings drama or chaos is not invited. My heart is a special property, and I'm going to keep it that way so we can all keep enjoying it and I can get my security deposit back. So, I mean, like, first and foremost, this card is obviously saying that, like, it's really important to protect your own peace and to maybe even explore whether or not where this connection is at currently is one that's bringing you happiness and peace, or if perhaps there is a need to take a step back. But I also feel like there is a message for a select few of you of, if this person is kind of having one foot in and one foot out, and you know, like how I saw those cards indicating that there is kind of like a concern that perhaps you could walk away. There could be an energy on this person's end of like attempting to breadcrumb you while they figure this out. Or attempting to breadcrumb you while you figure out what it is that you want. Whatever the case may be, if this person is kind of like dragging you along in certain aspects of this, I think that there is a calling here to really decide for yourself whether or not you're capable of making clear decisions that are best for you if there's kind of like chaos happening that is still within your energetic field. And we have communication. Wonder how that other person feels? Ask them. Wish they knew how you were feeling? Tell them. You've just been drafted into the communication army, where there is a strict do ask, do tell policy. Speak with kindness and gentleness and reach an understanding. If you don't, assumption will just make asses of everyone, including the person who came up with that aphorism. So I think that like if there is confusion on your end, this is a calling to like clear the air. It might be, I know at times it can be difficult to ask these sorts of questions because we can be fearful of what the answer is going to be. But I think that what this is saying is that if there is a need for clarity in order for you to move forward and find peace, whether it's in this connection or away from it, I think that it will be very beneficial for you to get the answers that you're needing. But that's what I'm seeing for you guys, pile 4. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my Amazon wishlist or my Etsy shop. And if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so that I will have the opportunity to read for you in another video soon. Bye!